What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Fury Reacts. Today I'm reacting to a video by Cosmic Wonder. Now, Cosmic Wonder is hosted by a guy named Warren, and he's worked very closely with two people I admire quite a lot, actually. Real Rejects. This is one of their merch t-shirts, which you can buy freely. So yeah, I advise you all go check them out and see what they're about. So yeah, this video is called The Most Powerful MCU Mutant Coming in. The Fantastic Four, or with the Fantastic Four, sorry. Yeah, I'm very excited to check this one out. I'm a huge Marvel fan, or rather, Marvel, DC. I'm not one of those who picks and chooses between the two. I just like anything nerdy, really. Anything sci-fi, anything comic book related. So yeah, I'm really intrigued about this one, so let's give it a go. Just put the old headphones on. Sorry, I've still got the broken ones at the minute. New one should be here in 2 days. Yes. So let's get into it, shall we? Don't forget to check out the original video, guys. And play.
How's it going, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to my channel, The Cosmic Wonder, where we talk about Marvel and, of course, everything relating to the MCU. Today we're going to talk about quite possibly the strongest mutant ever, but definitely one of the most powerful
Comments
Marvel
below,
Comics
guys. Who do you think it's going to be? Before this continues, pause it. Comment below who you think it's going to be.
Which we know is something that is going to be happening within the next 2 to 5 years, so to speak. How their arrival is going to eventually bring this mutant to the MCU. And also take a step back and look at everything that we know so far about the future of the MCU and what has happened in the past. We can see how the way for this character to enter the MCU has already begun to be paved. And it has ties to Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man 3, the WandaVision series coming up, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness as well. If you're new, be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all content relating to the MCU, and
so
I am
to
less than 2,000 subscribers away from giving away an Xbox One or PS4,
subscribe,
so
rather, hit that notification bell.
So the way has been paved for the Fantastic Four to enter the MCU. Kevin Feige himself has even mentioned it at San Diego Comic-Con that they are coming, along with the mutants. Giggity. And in our case, we are kind of talking about both. The arrival of Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm to the MCU is also going to eventually bring another character to the MCU. Many of the comic readers already know who I'm talking about, and that is Franklin Richards, the son of Reed Richards and Sue Storm. Yes, in the comics, Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman do have children. And not only do they have children, but Franklin Richards is one of the most powerful mutants and characters to ever come into existence. And as I mentioned before, the way is currently being paved for him to enter the MCU, which we'll talk about, but first let's talk about his powers and what makes him one of the most powerful characters ever. Because he's so powerful that at one point in time, he basically uses Galactus himself as his personal puppet. Now, Franklin, as a child, is actually a pretty moderate and dormant, for the most part, child, with his powers only being telepathy and telekinesis. But the story of how he gets his powers are actually quite remarkable. Sue Storm is pregnant with Franklin at the time, but she is dying. She's dying due to the cosmic energy that originally gave her and the rest of the Fantastic Four team their powers. And Franklin, from inside, is feeding off of this energy and her own life energy. So in order to save her and the baby, Reed Richards says that they have to go inside of the negative zone, which is very similar to the quantum realm in the MCU, and retrieve antimatter that will save her. The Human Torch and the Thing say that Mr. Fantastic can't go alone, so the three of them go into the negative zone. There they encounter Annihilus with the Cosmic Control Rod. They eventually defeat him, and they realize that the Cosmic Control Rod is what they need to save Sue Storm. They take it back, and they're able to use the Cosmic Control Rod to essentially balance the energy inside of Sue Storm, and Franklin is born, and everything is okay. Now, the Cosmic Control Rod is used to give the holder the ability to manipulate matter and energy, and it also gives them power over cosmic energy. And Franklin gets some of his powers from the Cosmic Control Rod since it was used to save his mother and him. But he is also officially deemed a mutant. In the House of M storyline, the Scarlet Witch says no more mutants, and she reduces the mutant population by 90%. There's only 100 and something mutants left after she says this, but the comic does say that Franklin Richards is indeed a mutant, and he is one of the survivors. Now again, as a very little child, his powers were pretty simple and basic. But he would have flare-ups here and there. For example, one time Norman
What's your
Osborn, when
opinions
he was
on
the
this,
head
guys?
of
If you know
S.H.I.E.L.D.,
anything
came
about
to
the
the Baxter
character,
building and was
mutant or
threatening
not?
Mr. Fantastic, who of course is his father. Franklin was holding a toy gun, and he told Osborn to leave, and when he didn't, he squeezed the trigger and a real bullet came out and he shot Norman Osborn in the arm. This was a sign of his matter manipulation and his reality manipulation abilities, because there is a difference between matter manipulation and reality manipulation, which we'll get into in just a second. Now, where his powers truly start to develop is when a future version of himself comes to visit him. His future self comes to visit his past self because in the future, his father, Mr. Fantastic, is dying. So he came to awaken the powers of his past self, that way he can stop whatever is causing his father to die. His powers are now awakened, and his matter manipulation and reality manipulation begin. He starts to create entire universes under his blanket at night, and his future self comes back and starts to teach him how to harness and use his powers. They create a blank universe, which is basically a universe where the two of them
Quite
just
a creepy
learn.
image, though,
So
isn't
he
it?
starts to learn how to create things. He creates suns, planets, solar systems, and even life. He basically
Really
becomes
interesting,
God
though.
and creates entire universes. Eventually, a group of Celestials called the Mad Celestials come from a different timeline, and they end up destroying Galactus. And here's where we learn why the future Franklin Richards had been coming back in time to teach the current Franklin Richards. And that is because all of the power that has been building up in the young Franklin Richards over time, he has been taking. So he takes all of the power that has been built up over time of his younger past self, and he gives it to himself, and he essentially doubles the amount of power that he has. He's so powerful that the Celestials don't even recognize him as Franklin Richards. They recognize him as an Omega level mutant. So they're trying to figure out just who he is, and they're going over things saying reality distortion, universal shaper, galactic constant danger, Danger Doom. What they now recognize him as this universal omnipotent being. And he's so powerful that he actually raises Galactus from the dead. He brings him back to life, and then Galactus serves as his servant. And then the two of them attack and defeat the Celestials together with ease. The fight is over very, very soon. Franklin Richards is destroying Celestials by himself with one single punch, and then commanding Galactus as a puppet as well to kill the Celestials. So, as you can see, he is an insanely powerful mutant, probably the strongest mutant to ever be created in the Marvel Comics universe. Now, unfortunately, when we eventually get Franklin Richards, they're definitely going to have to nerf him. He's not going to be able to have all of these powers naturally. They'll probably give him telepathy and telekinesis, but reality warping is really OP. Just think about Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet. It had massive power in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, but it was nerfed from how powerful it was in the comics. In the comics, Thanos snapped half of the universe out of existence with ease, and he there continued to defeat all of the X-Men and Avengers and then take on the cosmic beings themselves, all without the Gauntlet or himself being harmed. And it's going to be the same thing for Franklin Richards when he eventually enters the MCU. They're going to nerf him down a little bit. So let's talk about the groundwork in the MCU that has already been laid and the future groundwork that will be laid for him to enter the MCU. To start off with, the way he originally gets his powers is because his father, Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, has to go into the negative zone to collect antimatter, which is supposed to heal him. This sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? Just think of the negative zone like the quantum realm, because in the MCU, that's most likely what it's going to be. And we learned from Ant-Man and the Wasp that the quantum realm has certain healing factors. And in the post-credit scene for Ant-Man and the Wasp, we learned that you could collect those healing particles from the quantum realm. Now, the Fantastic Four have a deep connection with the negative zone and what is called the microverse, which is actually the quantum realm in the MCU. They've spent a lot of time in there, and it's widely believed that that's how they're going to be making their MCU debut. So eventually, in the MCU, when Sue gets pregnant and her life is at jeopardy, Mr. Fantastic and the rest of the Fantastic Four can go inside the quantum realm to collect the healing particles. And then, of course, there's the cosmic control rod. Now, not much has been said about Annihilus entering the MCU, but one person who has been said to be coming very soon is Kang the Conqueror. Good. Now, Kang's base, which is called Chronopolis, exists in the comics in a place called Limbo. It's a place where time exists kind of differently, much like the quantum realm. And it's widely believed that the city inside of the quantum realm that we saw in Ant-Man and the Wasp, that's where Kang is, and that's Chronopolis. And there could very well be the power cosmic inside of that city. And another thing is that when Franklin Richards was a child, his parents gave him to Agatha Harkness so she could look after him for a while. They didn't fully give him up, but when they were working and when they went on missions, Agatha Harkness looked after him. And Agatha, from afar, using her witchcraft powers, would end up helping the Fantastic Four several times on several different missions, warning them about danger. Now, if you're wondering why Agatha Harkness is a familiar name, it's because she also helped train the Scarlet Witch. In fact, she announced that she was quitting being the governess of Franklin Richards because she had to go help tutor the Scarlet Witch. So essentially, she left Franklin for Wanda. And it's pretty much all but confirmed that Kathryn Hahn is going to be playing her in the WandaVision show. We have leaked photos of Kathryn Hahn's character in what looks to be the Salem witch trials. And these are photos leaked directly from the set of WandaVision, so we know that Agatha Harkness is going to play a pretty big role in the television show. So it could be possible that in the timeline of the MCU, before she ends up with Wanda, for whatever reason in the WandaVision show, she could have been with Franklin Richards before. Because we all think that right now, the Fantastic Four as a group currently exist in the MCU, we just haven't seen them yet. Fox has already done the origin story for the Fantastic Four, and it's widely believed that Disney's going to change it up a little bit. But as I mentioned, right now there are many factors in the MCU that could, one, bring in the Fantastic Four, which we know is going to be happening relatively soon, and two, bring in Sue Storm and Mr. Fantastic's child, Franklin Richards. And when this happens, the most powerful mutant to ever be created by Marvel Comics will be in the MCU. Now again, of course, he'll be nerfed a little bit, and he won't have all of these vast cosmic powers to just be able to control everything at will, but no doubt he will be a very powerful mutant in the MCU. So let me know what you think about this. Do you think that Franklin Richards should be nerfed, and if so, what powers do you think that he should retain in the MCU? Let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to stay up to date on everything relating to the MCU. For live updates on MCU news, you can follow me on Twitter, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.
Woof woof. Well, if I'm being completely honest, I actually forgot about Franklin Richards. What? So, that could be very interesting. Looking back at those little comic book clips sort of brought back a lot from when I was a lot younger and read the actual comics. But I forgot just how sort of sinister and dark they made the character look back then. So I'm kind of hoping they bring a bit of that back. Interesting to see how it's going to play out, especially with Multiverse of Madness coming out, Doctor Strange, and that being sort of slightly darker, but not so dark. Or so I'm told. But yeah, it'd be quite interesting to see how that plays out, and if they've actually picked a character for that yet. Or, not a character, an actor for that yet. Who do you guys think would make a good Franklin? Because I'm just thinking about it now. And honestly, I can't think of anyone. Not off the top of my head. Because you need someone quite young who... Ooh, nah, maybe not. Yeah, you need someone quite young, I would imagine. Especially if they're going to actually use Krasinski and his wife to portray the characters, you know, the leading characters of Fantastic Four. Which would be a great idea. I think they suit the roles perfectly. But for Franklin, I don't know. Who do you guys think? I know I'm asking a lot of things to be put in the comments, but that's because, you know, why not? But yeah, I'm going to have a little think on this while I begin to delve into what we've just seen. So, an interesting fact about the strength of the character with him bringing back Galactus. I completely forgot about that story arc. So that, I want to see Galactus so bad in the MCU. I really do. Because he was an amazing character. Amazing character. Bloody loved it in the books. Sorry, comics. You know what I mean. But yeah, I'm getting quite excited for the whole Fantastic Four revival, really, as it were. I watched Real Rejects videos reacting to Warren, I think it was yesterday or today. In fact, I think it was this morning. Where they were sort of picking out Easter eggs. And they saw in one of the Spider-Man films, I think it was, where there was a banner in the background and they were raising a building that might actually be the Baxter Building. Fingers crossed, that might be a little Easter egg. But where it said 1, 2, 3, and then it had a question mark where the number 4 goes. So we're hoping that kind of leads to the Fantastic Four Easter eggs. But yeah, this seems really intriguing. It's kind of got me thinking a bit now. Also, as they're going down the Multiverse of Madness route, I'm kind of liking the horror aspect and the kind of creepiness to this, because in my personal opinion, with Marvel films and as a Marvel fan, it's not quite been dark and seedy enough on the villainous side, if you know what I mean.
Oh, God, and so it goes on, day after day, year in, year out, slime in this ear, slime in that ear. Don't you ever yearn for change?
The protagonists are amazing, as always, but the antagonists have always seemed a bit unthreatening to me. Like Thanos, you know, they tried to, and Loki, and all the others, to be honest. They just try and humanise them a bit too much. Which sometimes can be good for the character arcs, for the actual characters themselves. But as a storyline and as it goes from comic books that I've read as a child at least, it's a bit too humanised. You need something there to kind of make you want to kick their ass. It's like everybody loves Loki. Everybody loves Loki. You've always got people sort of going, when it comes to the antagonists or the villains, going, well, yeah, I can kind of see the point. Whereas that's not what I want. I want something different. I want something new. Something where you just think, oh, you are a prick. I just want you to get defeated now. That's what I'm kind of looking for. So I'm hoping they go down that route as they progress through phase 4, is it? Or 5 now? 4? I'm getting lost. But yeah, so I'm hoping that the introduction of Franklin and hopefully Galactus might actually delve into that a little bit. Sort of break from the norm. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. That'll do for tonight, I guess. Don't forget to check me out on Patreon. I have a page there full of reactions, full sketches, comedy sketches of just me and me with the puppets, because I do have the profanity puppets. It is adult-based humour, so no under 18s, unfortunately, guys, because there's a lot of profanity, hence the name. But yeah, don't forget to check me out on Instagram, all the other social media things. But yeah, much love and respect, guys. Stay safe.